Hi, this is Judge Harry Bowden with Child Support Court Vodcast. Make sure you go to childsupportcourttv.com. Check out the new videos, our sponsors, and get to Ask Judge Harry, where you can call in every Tuesday from 9:30 to 11 and ask Judge Harry. Thank you for being a loyal viewer of Child Support Court, the Vodcast, with Judge Harry Bowden.
GetMyBabyMoney.com.
Get my baby money. Get your money, baby, get your money, money. Get my baby money.
Welcome back to Child Support Court, the Vodcast with Judge Harry Bowden. And we're back with Janelle Dawson, the greatest therapist in Atlanta, Georgia. And she's helping us to learn what to and what not to do when it comes to supporting the child. Okay, getting back to Janelle, I really am interested in this time frame in which parents, understand that children mimic them, but at a time where they have to start cooperating. When should that happen?
Again, what do you mean?
Okay, go keep the judge straight. Don't judge me now. Okay, I mean, at some point in time, you say children are great with their boundaries because they know what they want.
Yes.
At what point in time do we as parents start, I guess for lack of a better word, start confusing them?
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So I'll give you an example. My daughter, she was about maybe 2 or 3. She wanted dessert. I can't remember exactly what it was. But she wanted some dessert. And I think we gave it to her. But she wanted a spoon. We gave her a fork. Okay. So what does she do? Starts acting crazy, right?
Okay.
So she's getting angry and frustrated because she doesn't know how to say, I don't want this. I mean, she could have, but she was so frustrated because no one was listening to her. Because we're like, just eat it. And so she eventually throws the fork.
Okay.
She might have been 2 actually. So she eventually throws it. So at that point I realized, okay, she's frustrated. There's something else going on. Maybe we didn't give her what she actually wanted. So my husband starts yelling at her, right? Which doesn't help the situation because now you yelling and she yelling. So everybody mad, right?
Okay.
So I told him, you need to stop. And I looked at her and said, what's going on? Did you not want the fork? She said, no. I said, well, what is it? Spoon. Oh, you want to eat this with a spoon. I got it now. So I have to tell him, you're not helping the situation just because she's frustrated and she throws it. As a kid, you don't know how to express your frustration, but you know you're frustrated.
Right.
So it's up to us. That's why I said you got to teach them emotional health, but a lot of us don't even know our own emotions.
Ooh.
So when you understand emotions, then you can start to help kids with understanding their emotions and expressing it in a better way. So it really goes back to emotional health because I tell everybody, kids, or all of us, are emotional beings. Emotions is the only way children do communicate in the beginning.
Right.
Because that's all they have. They don't have the words. So it's up to us to understand what they're feeling and then help them communicate that.
A few shows back, I gave 6 examples on how to co-parent or how to deal in toxic relationships. When you have individuals who are parents, they don't co-parents, but they're parents, and you find when one does not know how to control, communicate, and actually give what's needed emotionally, what do you tell that other parent to help them, if anything?
Right.
What can you tell them to help them?
Yeah. So I give everybody what's called an emotional wheel, a feelings wheel.
Okay.
Because, like I said, all of us, for the most part, we'll communicate happy, anger, sadness maybe. Sadness is a little like, and maybe we might do a little fear, but not really. But we're definitely going to express maybe when we're happy, but definitely when we're angry. But when you look at this emotions wheel, it's 100 emotions on there. And I'm like, and we experience all of them. We just don't know how to communicate it.
Really?
Yes.
Do we communicate non-verbally?
Yes, we'll communicate it non-verbally or with anger. Anger is like the big one. So for example, if I'm disappointed in you, I don't say I'm disappointed. I just act out of anger. If I'm worried about you, I don't say I'm worried about you. I act out of anger.
Look, does that emotional wheel also have on it the attraction that one gets to another person?
No.
It does not.
Mm-mm.
So two people are there and all of a sudden they're there. How does that happen with no emotion?
So attraction is a little, it's a little interesting.
Okay. Because
we may go off of initial attraction when we were first dating, right? Okay, that person, they cute, right? But what's interesting, what I found, is how we end up repeating the same cycle that we saw with our parents. So you know how you say, like, I'm dating my mom? Like, or like you end up seeing that and you're like, how did that happen? Like when you really start to think about it, like this person acts exactly like my parental figure.
Okay.
I don't know how it happens, but it's something about, I think it's what it's called is it's normalcy. So if the way that you're interacting with me is normal to me. So if I grew up in a toxic household and I meet somebody that's toxic, that's my norm. So I'm gonna be attracted to that because that's all I've ever known. But if I meet somebody that's not toxic, it's like, get away from me.
Okay, listen, hold on right there. We'll be right back after word from our commercial. Y'all don't go nowhere now. Getting married has been made easier. Don't wait. If you are in love, get your wedding ceremony performed virtually or in person at one of our many locations. Get your nuptials in no time. Now you have a friend in the wedding business. Go to streamingvows.com today. Well, that's interesting because now the question I have is, if you get to that normalcy, okay, the question I would ask is, how can a person who does not consider it norm, you just went there, how do they help that other person to say, whoa, you know, there's a new thing going on?
The other person has to be willing. They have to be willing to change. They have to be willing to see it. But if they don't want to see it, or if they don't have that ability to reflect and see, oh, wait a minute, there are some things about me that maybe are not healthy. Maybe if I take a moment and listen versus being combative. A lot of people are defensive. They're easily defensive. If somebody calls them out about something, they get defensive. But if you're in a place to want to actually hear and listen, then you'll be willing to change. Okay,
that makes sense. I'm going to go there. Why is it that when there are unequal normals, that one person often wants to change the other person?
Right.
What happens there?
And that's the other thing. And that's why I said that other person has to be willing to.
Okay.
Because trying to force someone to change, it's not going to do.
But why does that person want them to change?
I don't know. It could be a control thing at times.
Oh, so you talking about somebody that want to be in control?
Sometimes, yeah.
Could they feel as though they have an upper hand? Okay. Do they feel as though they want to make a man? I mean, a person. None of you have that issue where you want to make somebody the way you want to make them. But if it gets there, what do you do to protect that child when you realize that there is no change in this person?
So when there is no change in a person, one, you have to accept it. That's the biggest thing. You have to accept, okay, well, that's how that person's going to be. So now I have to make decisions based off of that. But if you're trying to force this person to change, they're not going to change. Again, it's going to cause discord and all this stuff. But if I accept the fact that, you know what, this person is never going to, for example, this person is always going to be late. I have to just accept that person. Hey, that person will probably be 15 minutes late. So if I set a time of 1 o'clock, I'm going to expect that person to probably show up at 1:15. I'm not going to force it anymore because I'm going to be like, you didn't show up at 1 o'clock. And now, again, we're having issues. I'm just going to accept the fact that maybe that's just something that you are incapable of doing. And I have to just accept it.
Do you?
Do you accept it?
Do you have to accept it?
Well, you don't have to accept it.
Because that's my next question. If you realize that the acceptance is not what you want,
Mm-hmm.
how now do you ease out of it and still protect that child?
So I know some people, like for example, if a person says, okay, I'm going to show up on Saturday to take little Bobby to wherever, and then they don't come. All right. Then they do it again, second Saturday. Okay. Third Saturday. All right. At this point, you're causing a lot of disappointment in my child.
Who, the one who doesn't show up?
Yeah.
What about the one who keeps saying okay?
Right, exactly. So it becomes both of you guys at this
Okay.
point. And so to protect the child, it would be then to say or to set boundaries with that parent.
Boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Set boundaries with that parent because you are saying that you're going to do X, Y, and Z and you're not doing it, which is now not okay for me because now it's hurting my child. So for example, if that person isn't showing up, it's almost like, unfortunately, you have to cut them off in a sense. Until you show me that you're going to show up.
Was she trying to control me? What's that about?
But I've given you opportunities to show and prove yourself. And so if you've proven yourself to be this way, I'm only going based off of what I see. And one thing I will say is, after 1 or 2 instances, you can't really say that that's that person's pattern. Yeah, because what we do is make overgeneralizations where we're like, oh, that person did it one time, they're like this, but that's not necessarily true.
Is something more behind that?
Well, it's more so like, okay, if somebody messes up once, sometimes we're like, oh, that person always does but that's not necessarily true. Now, if they've done it like 4 or 5 times, okay, now
that's
we got a pattern going on here, right?
Okay.
So if I've given you an opportunity and you've proven. There's evidence, multiple occasions of you doing the same thing. Yeah, for me to protect my child, I got to set boundaries with you. So now, in a sense, you have to work your way back up to show me that you will show up for my child.
Ms. Dawson, thank you so much for coming. And I'm going to ask you if you would come back.
Sure.
So listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Keep those calls, those emails, those comments coming in. We appreciate it. And we'll see you next time on Child Support Court, the Vodcast with Judge Harry Bowden. Take care now.